Welcome to Murder with the Missus. I'm Darren.
And I'm Amy, and today we're going to tell you about conspiracy theories that were true.
Don't forget to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Podbean, and Facebook. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you get the new episodes whenever they drop, and tell your friends as always. All right, let's see if I can keep up.
Oh, you will, because this is right up your alley.
All right.
As promised, the theme this week is conspiracies that were proven to be true, or I call them spoiler alerts. So here we are. Some of these are known, some may not be. The purpose is to show that sometimes people will think you're crazy or really reach in for explanations, but that doesn't mean that you're wrong. The truth usually comes out eventually anyways. And I searched around for these and didn't even realize at the time, but either I have a problem or more likely, there's a reason that these all have a recurring theme. When you think of conspiracy theories, what is something that keeps coming up regardless of what it's about? Like, what's the first thing you think of when someone says conspiracy theory?
The government.
Yes.
They seem to have a lot of secrets.
They do. Okay, so I'm not the problem. The government is.
Well, you know.
Good to know.
Well, I mean, you know, they got the Book of Secrets.
That is true. Thank you, Nicolas Cage.
You know, it's literally called the Book of Secrets.
So they say.
Exactly. Anyway.
As I went back over these, I realized that they all have government involvement. Shocker. And since we're in an election year, the first theory is that President Woodrow Wilson was incapacitated during his presidency and his wife took over and ran the country.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, that is I wouldn't even think that's a conspiracy because there was.
Well, it was a conspiracy then.
Yeah. No, she would okay, so this is actually kind of a fun fact. Like whenever they would come to talk to President Wilson, she would actually meet them at the door and was like, I'll ask him the question.
Right.
And everything. And then she will shut the door, go whatever, and then come back and be like, no, we're going to do it this way.
Right.
And everything. She wrote all the stuff, handed it to them. I mean, it was genius.
It was genius.
I mean, you want to talk about your first female president? She was it. So,
that was my last line.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm sorry.
You're good. We're on the same page. Now, this was in 1919, so it was a lot easier to hide things. And also it was during a time where a woman having any control was just ridiculous. And a lot of people did pick up on this, but the government, of course, denied it. Absolutely not. But it happened. He had already had 3 strokes up to this point and had several health problems. He had his 4th stroke toward the end of his 2nd term as president. So from then until his term ended in 1921, his wife Edith ran the damn thing. And I know that they say nothing really happened during that time, so no significant decisions had to be made. But like you said, we definitely already had our first woman president in office.
And, you know, and another thing was too, is like his team came up when they was like, we have to see him. And this is just like stuff that's coming right back.
See, I told you this is right up his alley.
But his team came up to see him, like the vice president, all of them, they all came up to see him and everything. And they was like, we have to see him. And so she's like, all right, well, give me just a minute. He needs to get dressed. And so she went over there and like propped him up.
Her and his doctor. Yep.
Yes. Propped him up in his bed and everything. And then brought him in. He's a little under the weather, but he's here.
Yep. Exactly.
I'm telling you, man. So didn't they get married where he was already president?
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, what's she going to say? No, Mr. President, I will not be the first lady.
Exactly.
Okay. And we've actually had 3 presidents get married while they were in office. So talk about a pickup line. Like, hey, I'm president. You want
to do this or what?
And she's like, okay.
You know what I am? President.
That's right.
Yeah. That's like the biggest flex ever.
And so I looked it up too. I was like, okay, so did they get married in the White House? But they did not. They got married at her house.
Oh.
Yeah. So she was pulling strings from before.
There you go.
Okay. So we know that one was true. And the next one is widely known, but I wanted to mention it because it fits the theme. The theory is that the government was doing experiments on people, usually for mind control purposes. The government denied the severity of these, and most of the documents were destroyed. But now we know about several experiments the government did on people. There was Project Artichoke, where the CIA wanted to see if a person could involuntarily be made to assassinate someone. It also studied the effects of mind control and hypnosis, along with forced addiction to morphine and LSD. And then they moved on to the 20 years of MK Ultra, which is the most widely known. The CIA says they were seeing people come back from wars that had been brainwashed and who were tortured, so they wanted to see what that was all about. We all know how that went. Electroshock, deprivation, sexual abuse, you name it. A lot of sick shit was done to people who were mostly mental patients, prisoners, drug addicts, prostitutes. There was one case of a mental patient in Kentucky who was given LSD continuously for 174 days. Not all of these victims, and yes, I'm calling them victims, were from this walk of life, though. One man was pulled into the program while attending Harvard. He was smart, skipped 6th grade and 11th grade in school, and then at the age of 16 went to Harvard on a scholarship. A psychologist at Harvard administered the experiment on him, and we don't know the full extent the psychologist went to, but none of it was any good for the psyche, and it lasted for 3 years. The man went on to graduate with a mathematics degree and then got his doctorate and became a professor. This man was Ted Kaczynski.
Oh, the Unabomber.
The Unabomber. He did say that he had bad thoughts before MK Ultra, but you can't tell me that it didn't contribute. And they say that there's no evidence he was given drugs, and he himself said that it was mostly debating and writing essays, and he only had one uncomfortable experience, which lasted about 30 minutes, he said. But if he was brainwashed, what would he say? Believe what you want on that one, because some people do think that this helped contribute to him becoming the Unabomber.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know. It depends on if what he says is true. And then there was also the Tuskegee experiments, where the CDC wanted to study the effects of syphilis. The experiment group was all African American men. There were 600 of them, and 399 unknowingly had syphilis. But the government told them that they were experimenting on treatments for bad blood and promised all of the participants free health care if they signed up for the experiment. They said they were going to test them for 6 months, but this shit ran from 1932 to 1972. So it was actually almost 40 years, and it only ended because the press found out about it.
But they had treatments for syphilis by 1972, didn't they?
Yes, they had been using penicillin as the standard treatment for syphilis since 1947. But remember, these men didn't know that that's what they had.
They weren't giving them penicillin?
Nope, they were not. And by the end of this experiment, 28 men died from syphilis.
So was they giving them syphilis?
No. So some, they say, yes, they gave them syphilis, but most of them already had it.
Oh, okay.
And so instead of treating them.
It's like, there you go. There's a little syphilis for you. A little bit for you.
Right.
And we'll give you the penicillin.
No, they didn't give any of them penicillin.
Oh, okay.
They would give them like mercury pills and shit to make them
that
think.
makes sense. Yeah,
yes.
Like the mercury and zinc and
to make them think that they were getting treated for this bad blood that they had that was making them feel bad.
Oh man, they was just getting loaded up with that stuff.
Yeah. And so like
they
I
was
said,
getting mercury poisoning.
So many things.
And everything.
So 28, like I said, died from the syphilis alone. 100 of them died from complications related to syphilis. And then 40 of the patients' wives became infected with syphilis, resulting in 19 kids being born with congenital syphilis. Now think about this, people. The government promised them something for free with ulterior motives. Google that on your free phone. Nothing is free.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the Beatles. John Lennon in particular.
Oh,
Yeah. There were allegations that the FBI was stalking him. I mean, had him under surveillance. And what would they want with a musician? In 1983, a historian filed a FOIA request for the Lennon files. FOIA is the Freedom of Information Act. See, the government is allowed to keep their files classified for a certain amount of time, but depending on sensitivity of the information, they eventually have to release them to the public. And they held on to most of the Lennon files, saying that releasing them would endanger national security. Finally, after 14 years of litigation, they had to release all of the files they had. And it came out that they had tapped Lennon's phone, followed him around, ordered the Immigration and Naturalization Service to deport him, and accused him of planning a, quote, large rock party that would interfere with the Republican National Convention.
Not a large rock party.
Yes, a large one.
Oh, man.
It seems they didn't want to give peace a chance, and they didn't appreciate his anti-war songs or the fact that he was meeting with radical anti-war activists. But it is widely believed that the truth was Nixon felt Lennon had a lot of influence on the young voters, and that would have kept him from being reelected as president in 1972. As we know, Nixon did get reelected and then resigned after Watergate just 2 years later. So who was really doing the dirty shit there?
Exactly.
Exactly. And let's pick on somebody else's government for a second. Canada. The theory was that Canada actually made gaydar.
Wait, what?
You heard that right.
Gaydar?
Yes.
Like the literal thing. I mean,
the literal thing. We've heard of it.
We've
Yeah.
heard of it, but in like joking.
Exactly. We
Right.
have friends who have been like, oh, my gaydar is on point. You know, you can spot them from a mile away. Well, the government was like, let's go ahead and make a machine.
Make a machine?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
They were so paranoid about homosexuality in the 60s that they actually hired a university professor to develop a way to detect homosexuality in federal employees. Yes. Homosexuality was a crime until around 1969. The Canadian government used it to keep out new employees and even fire some people that were currently employed. And they called it, I shit you not, the fruit machine.
The fruit machine.
Yes.
It's like, boop. Buddy.
Got him.
Yeah, buddy.
You're out of here.
You're out of here. It was, man, my wife and kids. Yeah, right. Nah, you ain't fooling nobody. You ain't fooling the old fruit machine. You ain't getting by the gaydar.
Seriously. So according to the National Post, the fruit machine consisted of a series of questions, a chair resembling one you might sit in at a dentist's office, and flashing images of mundane scenes contrasted with pornography that people in the 50s thought gay people would like. They said think of like a half-naked carnival strongman. And the subjects, who were told that the machine was measuring stress, sat in the chair and watched the images while scientists noted their pulse rate, skin reflexes, breathing rate, and their pupil responses.
What?
100%. This is a thing.
Good Lord. So it was just basically showing them a bunch of ink blots?
No, they would show them like...
I know, pictures.
Like trees and then some half-naked man. And see what your pupils did when you saw that half-naked man.
So it's like...
Exactly.
It's like, oh, what a beautiful... Oh, my God.
Yes. Yeah.
Look at that hammer.
Stop it.
I bet we had something like that, also, I mean...
Oh, funny you mention it, because they sent one of their psychology professors down to the United States for a year to study our homosexual detection measures that we were developing here. And he came across a study from an American professor who strapped a camera to the head of someone and had them walk around a grocery store to see which product packaging interested them the most. And he was like, there it is. That's it. People's pupils dilate when they see something they like. So that would obviously work on homosexuals. They didn't think about pupils reacting to things like, I don't know, light. Plus, the camera...
So was the tree picture, was it like, like really dim? And then when the half naked carnival man came on, was it like really bright lit?
No, I don't think so.
Like
I don't know. They might have.
Showing his parts and stuff. It's like, hey,
how
you doing?
I don't like the position you're putting yourself in right now.
What's going on?
This is why we can't be on camera right now.
Yeah. Oh, if I was on camera right now, you guys would be fucking rolling right now. I'm just saying. We're going to do a live. I'm going to talk her into doing live one of these days.
We will one of these days.
Anyway.
So now keep in mind too that the camera, they had to put the images in front of you, right?
Yeah.
So the camera had to be over to the side which means they couldn't even really see your pupils from a head-on position. So they're really just looking from the side to see what your pupils do. It's really okay. All in all, it is reported that thousands of Canadians lost their jobs, resigned, or even committed suicide for being labeled homosexual.
Wow.
It's fucking tragic.
You got anything in here a little less tragic, Debbie Downer? You know,
Sorry.
I mean, you know, hey,
That was pretty good.
how's it going? Come here often.
Okay. So how about one where they said the government can control the weather? Well, they can, and so can you.
Me?
Yes, you.
Oh,
When you get that plane you've always wanted.
damn right.
Oh, side note, Kate, quit sending pictures of planes for sale. I'm kidding.
Keep sending them.
So they haven't really admitted to having like a satellite that can cause an earthquake or anything big like that. But the CIA did cause it to rain harder during the Vietnam War. There's this thing called cloud seeding, and farmers across the world use it too. It is debated as to how effective it actually is, but it's described as using an airplane to fly through a cloud while releasing small particulates that give water vapor something to cling to so it can condense and become rain. During the Vietnam War, the CIA did that in Operation Popeye. It was during the monsoon season in Southeast Asia, and they did it to produce more rain to wash out roads and cause landslides on the route that the NVA was using to move weapons and provisions.
Another reason for me to get a plane.
You're always looking for them, aren't you?
I mean, you know, it doesn't hurt to look.
Till you come flying one in, because you're also an impulse buyer.
I'm telling you, one of these days, I'm gonna pull up in the driveway, be like, honk honk.
You're going to drive that plane in the driveway?
No, so I'm gonna pull it into, you know, just have it on a trailer.
On a trailer?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a trailer. Like, beep,
Of
beep.
course.
Babe, look what I got.
I'm just picturing you hovering over the house. Honey,
Oh.
and texting me, look outside.
Either that or I'll be flying it and I'll be texting you, come out on the back porch. Fucking
Wow.
fucking straight Top Gunning it.
See what I deal with?
Anyway,
Okay, Goose.
I'm
all right.
Maverick.
You can't be Maverick. We already have a Maverick.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I'll be Goose.
You can be like, fine. I'll be Goose.
Fine.
All right. Let's do one more. This one's going to be a shorter episode. The theory. The government poisoned alcohol during Prohibition to keep people from drinking. We all know that's true. Back in the day, there was a lot of things that had shit in it that shouldn't have been there. But between 1926 and 1933, the federal government had manufacturers add quinine, methyl alcohol, and other toxic chemicals to the industrial alcohol. The story goes that it was meant to keep bootleggers out of the moonshine business, but ended up killing more than 10,000 people, supposedly. Whoopsie. While that's the official story, it is widely believed that it wasn't really about the people drinking. Speculation is that it was because the people were using moonshine to run their vehicles instead of buying gas, and the oil industry was feared to be at risk for taking a big hit. So for that one, believe what you will. But they did admit that they poisoned that alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know that's true.
Which is why you buy the liquor from the moonshiners.
That's why 10,000 people died, not 50,000 people died.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's the end of that
that's
one.
the end of that one? Good night. You're done?
Yeah, we went through like 8 conspiracy theories.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, how about this one? How about, is Elvis alive?
I specifically left Elvis out of this
Why'd you leave Elvis out of it?
because everybody talks about Elvis.
There is a dude right now that they are
but
going
that's not
crazy
proven
over.
true.
No, I ain't-
This episode was conspiracy theories that were true.
Whatever, I think he's alive.
It hasn't been proven. So Elvis would have to go into our regular conspiracy theory episode next week.
Oh, okay. He's alive. Along with Tupac and Michael Jackson.
Stop it. And Anhesh.
Hey,
There's so many.
yeah.
But anyways, that was our episode on conspiracy theories that were true. Hopefully you liked it. It's a little different than what we normally do, but it fit the theme this week. So
Yep.
it's fun to do.
Well, don't forget to tell your friends, tell everybody you know. Like, share, follow, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.